Meowth says, "How do I find love? You take your clothes off." I didn't say it was going to be good advice.
Okay, so you get a burlap sack.
Oh no, not this, not a burlap sack.
And that's it. Bam. You're good. No more explanation needed.
Yep, pretty much. It kind of writes itself. Mama Kazooie asks, "Paul, how do I not be a total douche?" You can't, because you're on the internet. Sorry.
No, you don't have to be a total douche. You're just, sometimes you are going to be a douche.
Sometimes being all the time.
Yeah.
Because the
much.
internet.
You're a douche to someone, so.
It's true.
But you don't have to be a douche to everyone all the time.
That's not true. You have to be a douche to everyone all the time.
Oh. Is that part of the rules of the internet?
Kind of.
Mm.
How do I get good at video games? Stop playing them completely. Because then when people say, "Are you good at this game?" you can just say, "I don't play dumb kid games."
No, you can just say yes, but I don't play video games anymore. You can pretend you can make up a dark backstory for yourself, where you're the best at video games, but you can't play them anymore because of mysterious reasons. That way you'll be mysterious, and everyone loves people who are mysterious.
Welcome to the Pixel Response Podcast.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Burning Barrel Podcast. I'm Paul. With me is Hank.
Hello!
Hey, we're back.
Hey. Yay!
Did we do one of these last week? I don't remember. Yeah, we totally did.
We did.
Yeah, we
Yes.
totally did. I'm losing track of time. It's been a rough start to the weekend. Basically, I mean, you know this story, but I'll reiterate. Thursday night, I come home from work late, and I don't go to sleep until a migraine basically knocks me out yesterday at 6 o'clock in the afternoon.
Jeez.
And the whole time was Terraria. So I think it's pretty safe to say parallax scrolling in a 2D side-scrolling game for like 10 hours after you haven't slept for 30 is probably not a good way to do business. It fucked me up. It was really bad. But it was cool because I woke up kind of like late night that same night and watched a shitload of Boy Meets World, and that's all I've been doing. That show is strangely coherent in a lot of the problems that are still around today.
Huh.
And it made me realize that I'm not impressed. It's not I'm not impressed about this because like a show did stuff that's still happening today. I'm more disappointed in society that we haven't moved past shit that was like a thing back then at all. And if anything, it's actually just gotten worse because people are just fucking screaming and yelling at each other now on the internet. So every dumbass with a cell phone has a voice now that other people can hear. So if anything, it's just amplified those problems without solving any of them. And yeah. It's real bad. Society is really, really bad. But
yeah, there's also the thing like the internet. You don't even get a good handle on how many people believe certain things just because the loudest people can make so much noise.
Like vocal minority.
Yeah, the internet amplifies the vocal minority to an extent where you can't even get a good understanding of what popular opinion actually is, even on stuff.
How far are you in Boy Meets World? Like on this rewatch, I am starting season 3, but I mean, I've seen the whole series like 5 times because I grew up with it while it was in syndication. So like, I've seen all of it many times.
The last time I watched it, I remember there's an episode where there was a janitor and he placed a janitor's curse on them.
Yeah, sure.
That was really dumb. I just remember me and my friend laughing really hard at the janitor's curse.
a lot of the problems in that show are sexism, and it just made me realize that I'm super surprised that the only time I see Boy Meets World get brought up on Tumblr is like if you were a 90s kid and shit like that, and never about like the stuff they talked about, like the problems that were going on in the actual series,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of funny because it just shows like how Tumblr is fucking stupid as shit. And I'm just mad at Tumblr because I still don't know how to tumble properly.
There is the thing of people who are like first expressing their own thoughts are like, I have thought of this inequality in the world that no one else has recognized, so I'm gonna shout it out. There's like there's not a, they don't have perspective. A lot of times when people are angry in that way, they want to think that the world is fuck up, so no one else must have been shouting this all the time.
Right. Like, I am the first person to tell this white guy that what he is doing is terrible for being white.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but no. That
No.
This is not new. It's actually slightly better. Very slightly. Very slightly.
Yeah. I don't agree. I think it's worse.
I think representations in media are slightly better. I think there has been progress on that front.
Yeah, I do agree with that, but only because
like maybe not the world.
They have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, not the world at all.
But I think they are only doing that because of things about people in the world and the internet. Like, it's as much about the fragmentation of media, so that media can specifically target smaller audiences.
Uh-huh.
I feel like is a big part of why that happens in media now.
Uh-huh.
But there is people are more able to talk about stuff than they used to be 20 years ago or whatever.
Yeah, it's really fucking annoying.
It sucks. It sucks how fucked up the world is.
Yeah. That being said, it is July 25th. Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Yay!
As we talk about all the problems in the world and all the fucked up idiots behind them.
Like cannibalism.
Cannibalism isn't a problem if people are delicious. I wouldn't know.
Apparently they're delicious.
See, this is the problem. Okay, we have to talk some real talk right now.
All right.
Okay, so you're visiting Calgary, let's say, right?
Uh-huh.
And I'm just like, dude, this new badass restaurant just opened up. We should check it out. And you're just like, yeah, okay, because you're new here. You don't know what's going on, blah, blah, blah.
Uh-huh.
And then I'm like, the one catch is everything they serve is served with human meat. Okay, first of all, what do you think?
I don't think I want to eat there.
Okay. What if I tell you that don't worry about it though, all of this meat is taken from somebody who gives their consent, like it is written consent, and they are killed on the spot so the meat is fresh.
Still don't think I want to eat it. I just don't want to.
What's a price
Also,
point?
I don't really eat meat, so...
What's a price point for you to, like, try human meat? Like, what's the highest or lowest a steak would have to be for you to be like, this is doable?
I don't know. Like, I don't eat steak, even, so it'd have to be...
Okay, what do you
high.
eat that has meat in it?
Not that much. I eat some chicken stuff, but that's about it. Like, nuggets and fries.
Okay, these are human nuggets that are coated in a tasty batter. And, okay, so...
I don't want to eat people!
Okay.
I don't want to do it.
A 10-piece human nuggets.
Uh-huh.
How much are you expecting to pay, first of all? This is fresh meat right out of the back killing floor. Consent is given. The person was healthy as far as you know. A doctor signed off on it saying this person is ripe for consumption. Like, this is all good.
I would expect it to be more expensive than chicken nuggets, because chicken nuggets are pretty cheap.
They are pretty cheap. What if we said each single nugget is $5? So $50 for a 10-piece with a nice sauce.
I'm not paying that.
Okay. What if I'm paying for you? I'm like, no, this is my treat. I'm taking you out.
This is ridiculous. This is a ridiculous amount of money to spend. I can't. Don't do it. Don't do it, man.
Okay.
It's foolish.
So, I kind of agree with you, but I don't think it's for the reasons that you might think. So, what are your reasons for not wanting to eat delicious, fresh human meat?
Well, in this scenario, it's too expensive. Like, it's not practical.
Okay, let's say that there's no price right now. Like, price isn't a factor.
Uh-huh.
This is their new promotion. They're trying to sell top grade 100% AAA human beef in Alberta, and you're visiting. So this is a promo, and everything is totally fine. Like, what is holding you back from eating human meat?
I don't like trying new things in terms of food.
Okay, so it's just
not
the fact
into
that
that.
you're a picky eater, basically.
Mostly. Like, I also kind of just don't want to know what human tastes like, but primarily it's because I'm a picky eater. Like, that comes first. And all my other qualms are secondary to my normal weird food qualms.
Okay, so let me tell you why I
Alright.
probably wouldn't do it. Because if I like it, I'm fucked.
Yeah.
This is the problem, is that you go to this fancy restaurant or whatever, which is medium price. Like, you don't want too high price where it's gouging you, but you don't, if you're going to eat human meat, you want to shell out a little bit of money, I think. You don't want to pay for the $5 human burger, because that's going to be like a dead hobo they scraped off the side a week ago. Like, it's not going to be good meat. It's just going to be probably diseased or something. Like, if you're going to eat human meat, I think you're expecting probably to pay maybe around $80 to $90 for a plate, like a high-end meal, but not, like, outrageously high, I would think. But so, like, that's not a thing I could eat regularly. And if I like it, I'm going to walk out of there and start eyeing people on the bus like they were chickens.
Yep.
So that's like the only thing stopping me from ever trying human meat, is that if I like it, I don't want to know. I don't want to know if I like it.
Yeah. You don't want to know.
No.
It's better not to know.
Yeah, it kind of is. Who do you think would taste better, fat people or muscular people? Like, is it the same rules as, like, horses and shit?
Of course. Fat is always going to taste better than muscle. Muscle is going to be too tough.
Do you think it'd be, like, gamey, like venison or something? Or more like a buffalo burger or something?
I don't know. It probably depends what that person, what their diet was.
Do you think different races of people taste differently? Like, do you think a Chinese person would taste different than a black person or a white person? Try to answer this not in a totally racist fashion, by the way.
Maybe slightly. Like regional. I feel like people from different places would, because of like environmental stuff. Like,
sure. So like
whatever it's because the water tastes different at different places. I feel like people taste a little different.
No, I totally agree. So like an East Indian person would probably taste kind of like a spicy curry or something, just because. No, just because like if they were an adult person and like they lived life or whatever, they eat a lot of that stuff. So I'm pretty sure like that taste probably seeps in through like years of taking it into your bloodstream and stuff.
Yeah, maybe.
So.
It would probably be a more subtle difference, honestly, but...
Oh, it would be subtle, yeah.
Yeah.
Answer this question comparing two races without being racist. I'm sorry I set up a minefield for you.
Whatever, sometimes you gotta be a little racist. It's the way it works.
I think black people and white people would taste the same. Like, the exact same.
American black and white people, yes.
Yes, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not talking about real black people. Because they let's be honest.
Real black people?
Well, like, people from, like, Africa and stuff, or Somalia. Let's be honest, they'd probably be the people cutting up, like, everyone else for food. because like they don't have a lot of food in some of their countries. So, yeah. Anyways,
It's got
all I'm saying is that you go to
what?
Johannesburg.
Our conversation about capitalism got dark and fucked up. Goddamn, what are we doing wrong?
This is how I'm going to end this.
All right.
All I'm saying is that if you try to go harvest meat in Johannesburg, you are the one being hunted the minute you land in your airplane. Like the minute you go into that place, if you're not familiar with like South Africa, you're the one who's dying. It's not going to be one of them. So, yeah. Anyways, we should talk about something not so weird and dark.
I mean, I feel like transitioning to Snowpiercer is just appropriate, but
Sure.
it's just kind of the reason I brought it up at all.
So, like, okay, if you were to if there was like actually a thing where you would harvest human meat or whatever, it would probably make sense that you wouldn't really kill adult humans, especially ones that like could have a skill of some sort, even though they're suicidal and want to be eaten for some weird twisted way. What you would probably do is create a farm of baby meat.
Yes, that's what you do.
Yeah. So, Snowpiercer, dude eats a baby. That's a transition point right there.
Well, yeah. He ate babies. It's not that he ate a baby.
Yeah.
That he knows what people taste like.
Yeah.
He's aware. The point is that he doesn't eat a baby.
Yeah.
Because the dude cuts his arm off. That's the important thing. But yeah.
Either way, they are dining on human meat. But you know what? In the context of that movie, I don't really blame them because the shit they're fed is gross.
Well, that was even before they were fed that.
Yeah,
that was.
Oh yeah,
literally
what they
like-
were being fed was the answer to them not killing each other and eating each other.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's right.
They were stuffed in it like into super tight quarters. All their stuff was taken from them, and then they were like left alone for a month, and then they started eating each other.
Yeah. So how does that movie hold up on a second watching?
It's a little slow.
Yeah,
Like
it
the
is.
pacing isn't great.
Until it gets to the point where like stuff starts happening and then it goes too fast, and that's the stuff you wanted to see, which is annoying how much they skip through some parts like instantly.
Yeah, they do. They do skip through that, and then it drags a little at the end too. Like there's just like they didn't stage it that great with. There's like the mob. There's the Korean guys like holding off that mob over that walkway while Chris Evans and Ed Harris are having their conversation. Like those two things don't line up wise in terms of like tension and like how much time stuff is taking. It just feels a little weird. Also, that movie overuses slow-mo a little too much for my taste.
Sure. Yeah. I like the idea of a train that, like, the way they tell time is basically where they are because it takes a year to go around.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Like, there's a lot of cool
rad
ideas.
stuff in that movie, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, the ending is ripped right out of the second Matrix movie.
Yeah. I mean, that whole idea for that movie could basically be a BioShock game,
Mm-hmm.
which is great. There just has to be a lighthouse at some point
Yeah, it does have to be a lighthouse.
because there's always a man in a lighthouse.
Those are required for those games.
Yep. So you watched it with your dad who saw it the first time?
Yep.
What did he think?
Thought it was okay.
Oh, you didn't like it very much? Is it
Yeah,
because
just-
of the baby eating?
No. Well, for one, we were watching it on TV and the lighting was too dark for whatever reason.
Oh, weird.
It just
Okay.
happens sometimes. But just a lot of that movie, it's slow and he likes well-paced action stuff. Like the weird sci-fi stuff hooks don't do it enough for him.
Right.
So the pacing is slow was kind of probably dampened his enthusiasm.
Right.
Although he thought it was interesting.
Rob Apple saying the ending to Snowpiercer is a letdown. I don't remember it very much. Like, I know, quote unquote, what happens and how it's kind of ambiguous as to, like, what happens with her.
It's more like just shit is all fucked up. There's no good ending answer here.
I don't think it was ever about wrapping up loose ties in that movie, though. It's kind of like the journey, right? From the back to the front
Yeah.
and what they find there.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what the
I mean,
whole
that's,
premise
yes, that's the point of the movie. But if you're a person who's like, I need a good ending, or it's, I don't know.
It doesn't have one of those. Yeah. Yeah.
Again,
I
it
agree.
basically takes its ending from the second Matrix movie.
Yeah.
And then it's just blows everything up.
Yeah. Like a Matrix movie.
Again, I thought this movie was, my biggest criticism of this movie was I thought it was overhyped at the time. Even though I think it's pretty good. I think it was overhyped a little bit.
Yeah, it was. You're right.
But it's pretty good. It's still one of my top 10 movies I saw from that year.
I mean, it has the Human Torch in it.
It does. It does have the Human Torch in
Or at least the old version, I guess,
it. Yeah.
with the Human Torch.
The Human Torch that grew up to be Captain America.
Yeah, man. It's really weird. I mean, he fits the role of Captain America way better, but
I actually thought he was the best part of those Fantastic Four movies, even at the time.
yeah, those movies are fine. They're not great, though.
No, they're pretty bad.
Yeah,
They're just not very good.
they're weird. They're weird things.
Yeah.
All right, so Snowpiercer, but you went to go see Phoenix.
Yes. And I wrote a review up for the site. That is a really good movie.
Okay.
It's a good movie. So it's like a thriller that's mostly like quiet conversation stuff, but it's spinning a lot of plates at once, and like there's a lot of stuff going on beneath the surface the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's basically about this woman. It takes place post World War II. This woman was in a concentration camp, and her face was was disfigured. So she gets reconstructive surgery, but now she doesn't look the same way she used to. And like she's inherited a bunch of money because the rest of her family has all been killed. And she has this friend who's sort of taking care of her and wants her to like take the money and go to Palestine to help form Israel, basically. But she's not into that. She doesn't even actually really think of herself as a Jew. Like she didn't grow up Jewish. She was just like had ancestry in that, which is why the Nazis targeted her. She was a nightclub singer. So all she really cares about is seeing her husband again. Like for her, that was the thing that kept her going, was thinking that she'll see him again one day.
So it doesn't pass a Bechdel, probably. Because anytime she talks to another woman, she's probably like, I want to see my husband again, so automatically failing.
I mean, they talk about Israel, so they talk about, there's like a scene where they talk about the cleaning lady, so I think it does pass the Bechdel test.
Okay.
So the Bechdel test isn't that hard to pass if you actually have a bunch of female characters, but God, that thing. That so many movies fail, it sucks. But, it passes, actually. So the thing is, her husband may have been the one who turned her over to the Nazis. Because he didn't go to a concentration camp, and he was, like, basically released after she was.
Oh, good.
But
what a stand-up citizen.
So she just wants to see him. So she, like, starts roaming the streets at night, which doesn't go well, looking for him. Like, there's a scene where she gets really casually sexually assaulted and robbed. It's just like a dude just, like, comes up behind her and, like, grabs her, and then, like, it's so fucked up.
Okay.
And then, she eventually finds him, and, like, she says his name, and he, like, looks right past her. Like, he doesn't recognize her at all, which she's, like, really upset about. But she, goes back.
Doesn't she have a new face, though? Like,
yes.
Can't you cut him some slack?
Well, she goes back, but she's just upset because she doesn't feel like herself even. Like, she feels like she's not herself. She feels like she's dead, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So then the big part of the movie, she gets kicked out of the nightclub one night, and then he approaches her with a deal because he just thinks she's been hanging around because she's looking for work. But he says that so he wants her to pretend to be his dead wife so that they can collect the inheritance money she's owed, which he can't
That's
get
fucked up.
because there's no proof that she's dead, so he can't get the money. So she agrees to this basically just because she wants to be close to him. So she starts like training to become herself with him. So that's
really weird.
totally fucked up and weird. There's all like emotions going on inside her, and really good acting of her part on the actress's part to convey this. Like there's a scene where he's like having her practice her handwriting, which it turns out she's really good at writing her own handwriting. Like he has her copy a grocery
Go figure.
list. And he's looking at it and he's like, wow, that's really good. And she starts looking at him with an expression like, are you shitting me? You can't figure this out yet? Oh, whatever. It's really good. So it maintains all this, and so most of the movie is just pretty good, but the last scene, the movie ends at the perfect time. Like this is a movie that it all builds to one moment. The last scene, it's fucking great. It sticks the landing, and it makes it a great movie.
Oh,
because
cool.
it gets that last scene so right, and it ends right when it needs to. Like it just cuts it off. Boom, we're done. We did it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, movie's called Phoenix.
Would you
And
recommend it?
I
Or-
recommend it to people who can watch a quiet thriller. If you like thrillers, highly recommended.
How long is it?
I don't remember.
Okay. I'm sure I can look this up real
Yeah.
quick here. 98 minutes, so it's kind of short too.
Yeah.
So well paced, I'm guessing.
Yes.
Okay.
And it maintains tension for its whole runtime, and then it ends.
Cool.
It's good. Good movie. Mostly in German, because it takes place in Germany.
Is this a widely released thing, or did you have to go to your weird little art house fucking theater you go to?
I went to the IFC theater in New York to see it. I think it's
Okay.
playing like 2 theaters in New York. But it's on
2
IFC,
theaters.
so a lot of times those get sent to like on-demand stuff. But I don't know. I don't know if this is available for like streaming stuff yet. So you might have to wait until it's like out on video.
Okay.
When it is, I recommend it.
Okay. Cool. I didn't really I watched Boy Meets World,
Fair enough.
so I didn't really watch anything new or interesting. Let's talk about Tembo, the Badass Elephant. I bought this, but I haven't played it yet.
So this is a platformer made by Game Freak,
Yes.
Pokemon fame, and published by Sega.
Oh, good. Okay.
Because I guess Nintendo didn't want to publish something called Tembo the Badass Elephant.
Because it has ass in the title.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, badass. So the best part about this game is I like the mechanics. I like how it feels.
Okay.
Also, it's really, so you're an elephant who's basically dressed up like Rambo. And he's going into, you're beating up criminals and rescuing hostages, basically. So there's a cool thing, like whenever you rescue a hostage, they then are riding on your back for the rest of the level. And there are like, whatever, 10 or, there are a bunch of them hidden in every level. So like it's a collectible thing where you want to try and collect all of them and it scores you. The other thing you have to do is there's a counter for all the enemies in the level. So it wants you to destroy as many of them as possible. But the part of the game that's sort of a drag is it will gate you pretty heavily on finding that stuff. Like it really wants you to get a lot of them. Because the game isn't that long. Like I played it for an hour and was sort of a third of the way done.
Huh.
But I think the levels get longer as the game goes on, so I think it's not too short. But I've heard it's about 5 hours to get through the whole thing.
Okay. Cool.
On like an average playthrough. So the mechanics are if you press X, you charge forward, and you like are attacking stuff when you do that. A is jump. If you press A and X at the same time, you'll go into like a ball form and you'll bounce on a strict diagonal. Well, you'll like shoot forward really quickly. You can jump and then hold A, and he'll do an adorable little like hover with his like feet flailing.
Nice.
If you press, you can jump up attack, and like his trunk will turn into like a big hammer, and like you can hit helicopters and stuff. Because a lot of the enemies are all like dudes with guns and military stuff. Like you're like going into like a war zone city area. The levels are. So you're fighting mostly military stuff. It also has like a water mechanic, like the elephant from Donkey Kong Country 3, where you have like a water meter and you can fill it up, and then you can spray. There's a button for spraying water with your trunk, and you can target. You can use the right stick to like aim it. So there are mechanics based on that, like putting out fire, or there are like certain platforms you have to spray them with water and they like grow out. You can jump on them. So the mechanics, the mechanics feel good. It's a little janky. Like I tried it on when I first opened it, and I tried to run it on max settings. It was completely broken. Like my character, I couldn't move forward or back, and when I jumped, he flew right in the air, like outside the level, and then eventually like came down, but was like glitched and broken. Like the game was completely broken. But then I turned them down to normal settings. The graphical settings are like, there are 3 of them. It was one of those PC ports, because this is primarily, I think, made for the Xbox One. But, or console stuff. I don't remember if it's on PS4 too. Probably is.
So using a controller, it should be fine.
Yeah, I was using a controller. That was what I was doing.
Okay.
Because it's a platformer. I prefer platformers with controllers anyway. So it's pretty good. So once I turned it down, then it ran fine. But that was just a weird glitch. Then it was sort of annoying. The intro cutscene thing is a little long and not that interesting, and I had to see it a bunch of times in a row because I was reloading the game and it wouldn't let me adjust the settings without exiting out to the main menu, which was annoying.
That's really shitty.
Yeah, it's not a great PC port, but it's a pretty fun game. It's pretty okay. It definitely, if you like completionist style platformer games where you have to collect everything, do all the stuff, then I can recommend it. If you're not into the collecting stuff, it can get a draggy because it will want you to go back and do that stuff. If you don't
really?
Yeah. It will lock you out from the end of every. Like it'll basically, you can do 3 levels and then you're locked if you haven't killed enough enemies.
Well,
it doesn't seem to require you to get the prisoners, but killing enemies is the gating thing. Yeah.
Not happy about that.
No, that's kind of lame.
Yep, that's an antiquated, shitty way to design a game.
Yep. Luckily, the game doesn't have a timer, so you don't have to worry about time. But it does have a level system, which is also antiquated. And there are a lot of peanuts in the level, which is basically that's like rings, or that's basically like coins for getting another life.
There should be ammunition.
Yeah, but nope, water is, and then they're just fill up stations.
All right.
Throughout the level. Yeah, it's not great. It's fun. I like it. Okay. Also, whenever he charges, they're like sound effect things. Words will pop up, and it just says the word "bad" over and over again when he runs, which is great. Because he's a badass.
Yeah, of course. Makes sense.
Yep. Yeah.
Cool.
That's Tembo the Badass Elephant. It's okay.
You've been playing a lot of that?
I played like an hour and a half.
Oh, that's not so long.
I haven't played that much.
Okay.
I was away for most of the week.
Yeah. How was your vacation?
It was fun. I got a little too much sun on the first day, so then I was sort of picking my spots for going outside for the rest of the week.
Are you all like brown now?
No.
From all the sun?
I don't really turn brown. I just get pink and then not pink.
I
don't like my forearms brown a little, but for the most part I don't I just get burned.
Does your neck get red?
It will get red, but that is an area I heavily put on sunscreen because I know like the parts where I get burned the worst. So I mostly got a little too much sun in the parts where I don't normally get burned because I put on less sunscreen there.
Sure, yeah.
So that's kind of the first time that's happened, but that was stupid. So like my lower back was a little red and pink because I hadn't put on enough sunscreen there. But I'm not like peeling, so I didn't get burned too bad. I managed it pretty well. I made sure I didn't get too badly burned because I gotta be careful with that stuff.
You might be a redneck if you have a redneck, Jeff Foxworthy.
You might. It's possible.
Yeah, you might. That's his whole shtick, right? Like, he's the one you might be a redneck if blah, 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 whatever.
Didn't he go on to host a show about kids being smarter?
Are you smarter than a fifth grader or whatever? Yeah. I always found it ironic that they got a host who obviously isn't.
I mean, that show is stupid anyway, so whatever. I never found those guys funny.
Some of those questions are hard, though, because I haven't been in fifth grade for, like, 20 years now? Or whatever? Like, it's been a long time. So, some of the shit they tell you in fifth grade actually is useless information you will never use as an adult again.
I remember being in fifth grade and knowing shit my parents didn't know. Like, I don't need this. I found it funny then. Like, I don't need this show doing that stuff. Like, yeah, there are things that kids learn in school adults aren't learning because it's not that important to know, honestly.
Or at all. It's not at all important.
Yup.
Honestly, if you need to learn a specific set of, like, information or whatever for your career, and that you will use a lot, you learn all of that in college. It's none, like, I don't know why they even bother with that shit. With, like, we're gonna teach you a bunch of stuff from grade 1 to 12. Like, I can see in 10, 11, 12, like, training you to, like, go into something in college and having kind of an upper start in what you're looking at. But, like, dude, fucking grade 1 to 9 should be nothing but orgies or something. Like, it's nothing. It's all fluff information they give you.
It should be about learning how to learn more than anything. Like, but right now it's more about testing than anything, which is all fucked up.
You don't need a school to learn how to learn because the internet's now a thing. People can teach you how to learn on the internet.
Yeah, like, just, like, the best things you can learn are, like, habit stuff, probably. Like, just the habit of doing your schoolwork. And you can totally not learn that, too, but that kind of stuff is probably the most useful.
I hated homework. Because, like, and this is something that I realized, like, I didn't realize why until I was an adult, basically. I have no problem going to a job and, like, working my ass off until my job is done and then just sitting there. I hate having to take something and do it later. Like, it's like, no, if I'm here to work, we're doing all of it right now. All of it.
Yeah, no. What I got, even when I was a kid, I started to get really mad at homework. Particularly in high school, I got mad at this. That existed just to waste my time. It was like busy work. That shit, I fucking hated.
Yeah.
Like, if there was homework that was actually I was learning something, it's fine. But, like, work that's just, we can't allow these kids to have their own time at home. They have to use it all for bullshit. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Like, that even goes down to a video I did a long time ago on my YouTube. It took 8 hours of editing. And from the moment I wanted to do it until 9 or 10 hours later after it was done rendering, I worked on it that whole time. Like, I wasn't going to pick at it. I want to do all of it while I'm in the mindset. Which I know for some stuff is bad because it is true that if you're working on something a long time, you need to step away for sometimes and then come back to it.
Yeah.
But, so, like, that's my greatest weakness for stuff like that you sometimes need to take a step back and then come back to it. I can't do that because it actually infuriates me.
I have trouble with that too, but
yeah,
that's like people learn in different ways too. Like sometimes how someone can deal with stuff is not the same as someone else dealing with stuff, and they don't take any of that into account.
One of
It's all
the
fucked up.
That's one of the nice things I liked about art college was that
Mhm.
it wasn't the same as like school or post-secondary where in the morning for like 3 hours you'd have like a math class or something, and then the next three you'd have a social studies or another studies or something. It was like Thursday is drawing day. You're in the same class for 8 hours that day, and you just do an assignment. So there was like never homework in that stuff. Because
Mhm.
they used your time that you were at the institution like a job. Like you are here to do, like the schooling right now is your job. So when you come in, you're going to do your class and you're going to do all your work for it in that time period.
Mhm.
And that was nice. I really liked that. Everything else about art college was terrible, but I really liked that. So,
Yeah. Yeah, in college for me it was reading stuff because we would then talk about it in class. So if you didn't read it, you couldn't talk about it.
all right.
But it
So
just reading.
we went from Elephant to Your
Yeah.
Vacation to Jeff Foxworthy to fifth graders to schooling to work ethic back to education a little bit. Tell me about Terraria. This is the
I
progression.
feel like you should tell me about Terraria, but yeah.
Yo, that game is nothing but a giant carrot on a stick.
Mm.
And it's addictive in the way, like, okay, you'll relate to this, and like some specific other people that were one alive at the time and two were playing it at the time will relate. It's like old day WoW,
Mm.
where it's like there's always another upgrade to something, but to get it, you really, really have to put in some time and
Mhm.
farm and shit.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's the part, wow, that drove me nuts. My biggest problem with Terraria is I don't love the mechanics of playing it. So all that other stuff, like even when I think it's sort of cool to make a little thing, then I've made the thing and I'm like, but then I have to do all this other stuff that I don't like doing to make another little thing.
Yeah.
Like I like the part of it that's like a building that's like putting little things in places just because it makes you happy.
Yeah,
Like I like that part of
it's
it.
really great. You killed yourself like 1,000 times for tombstones.
Yeah, because I could get those really quickly, and I thought they were neat. Like
They are.
the amount of work it took to get a neat thing there was very low, so I went that route with just murdering myself over and over again for tombstones,
Yeah.
which was just funny and fun, and I liked that for a while. But I really don't have any desire to go through the progression of that game. Like that's not gonna happen.
It can get super frustrating, but like I said, it's kind of like you don't want to do it, but you do because you want that carrot.
Mm-hmm.
But there's always another tastier looking carrot after you got the other one. And that's I think it's really kind of disheartening too. That there's not just like maybe 5 upgrades that like are hard to get to. They're all kind of shitty to get to, and
Mm-hmm.
there's like 20 of them.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look up Terraria here, and I'll just like name off the ore, and hopefully they'll be in like the progression of where you start and what you get up to, and that sort of stuff, just to give you and people an idea. Okay, so your basic, yeah, okay, these are in tiers. There's 12 tiers, and then there's like a 13th like infinite tier. But anyways,
Mm-hmm.
so tier 1 is copper and tin, and
Yep.
you need a certain pickaxe for that. And then your next tier is iron and lead. Next tier after that is silver and tungsten. Tier after that, gold and platinum. Tier after that, demonite and crimtane. Tier after that is meteorite. After that is obsidian. After that is hellstone. After that is cobalt and palladium. After that is mithril and orichalcum. After that is adamantite and titanium. After that is chlorophyte, and after that is luminite. Like, that's stupid because basically every time you make a jump, you need to
Mm-hmm.
build new stuff.
Yeah.
That's so much farming.
Yeah.
8 of these tiers are pre-hard mode. Hard mode happens after the 3rd boss of the game, basically. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot, and I mean a lot of shit to do in that game. And some of it is really shitty and annoying, I agree. But it's kind of like a Zen game for me, or it was this weekend. Like, I'm probably not going to touch it for a while now. But, it was like, I'd be playing it and listening to a podcast or, like, watching a YouTube video on the other monitor, and I would just zone out for hours mining, and then zone out making a giant house or something, like... And then at the end of that, when I paid attention again, I had something to show for it.
Yeah.
Which is what I like. Like, I like that sort of thing. And I think the thing that makes that a little bit better than in Minecraft is that in Minecraft, you can walk through something, like in first person, and that's kind of neat. But I like seeing the whole structure on the screen at one time. Because it's like, in Minecraft, you could be like, yeah, I built this giant tower, but you're only seeing, like, as far as you can see in first person. Where, in, like, Terraria, it's like, yeah, I built this tower that I need to fly up to space to get to the top of. Like, it's just fun to have a whole thing on the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of good things about that game. It's really fun just playing and fucking around with other people, so I'm really stoked that they finally added Steam support.
Oh my god, that's such a huge thing. Like, that you don't have to use Hamachi anymore.
Yeah, it is huge.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of ridiculous how long it took them, but at least they finally did it. They did it!
Yeah.
They made a video game for people to play with each
figure.
other.
I didn't think it was possible. Didn't
No,
think
man.
it was possible. But, yeah, I mean, I played a lot of that, so I don't have a whole lot more to say about that. It's just like mining and building shit, so if you like that sort of thing, you might like it. If you don't like grinding out stuff and like looking up a wiki thing for everything you'll need every time you have ore and stuff, this is not the game for you, probably. You probably shouldn't do it.
It's sometimes I like that grinding stuff, but for me, I just don't like the combat. Like, I don't like the mechanics of being in the place. So I don't have the desire to go search out the carrot. Like, I just want the easy stuff I can grab right now and then do that. And then I'm like, okay, I don't think I want to go any deeper into this thing. I think I've gotten the fun that is like the percentage of time to fun is pretty good here. So
sure, I agree. Yeah, I totally agree with you. I knew you weren't having fun because you were quiet the whole time. I was just like, oh shit.
It's just not for me. I've tried it twice now.
Yeah, you played something that's not for me though.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones episode 5.
Yeah. This is probably the weakest episode of the Game of Thrones Telltale series so far.
Okay.
Like, just not enough happens, and it's pretty short. Like, it's okay. It has a character death choice that, for once, actually kind of feels like it matters. But I can't even... It comes at the very end, so I can't even say that, because there's, like, one episode left. But it's basically, you've had a bunch of player characters that you've been switching between this whole time, that's all sort of trying to come together to save this one sort of kingdom, like, not even like, place. This one little, like, family type, small scale city kind of thing. And so those characters are finally coming together, and you have a choice where one of these two is going to die. Like, one of these two characters you've spent a lot of time with and gone through a lot of the game with. You have to choose which one is going to... Only one of them gets to continue on into the next chapter, so you have to choose. Like that, I felt like I knew who these characters were. They weren't just a gimmick. Like, fine, okay, you're going to make me choose. But it's also one of those things where it's like, yeah, you're only killing one of these characters because structurally you only need one of them left. Like, the problem with a game that's, like, killing, or any story that's, like, killing characters because they can all the time, it falls too easily into a formula where, like, you know what characters they're gonna kill because who can they kill. Like, it gets predictable in a way just because once they've gone through it. Like, Walking Dead totally fell into that.
Oh yeah.
Game of Thrones falls into that. Like, you
like
know
with
who's
Walking Dead, they would introduce a character in an episode, and you're just like, by the end of this, they're dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. So it stops being interesting just because you know you stop investing yourself because you're like, you're just gonna do this and this because you're gonna try and emotionally tug at my heartstrings, but you're just going along on a formula. It's like
You know what reminds me?
You're
the
letting
worst?
me. Yeah.
I was gonna say, you know what reminds me the worst of that
What?
is, like, this might be spoilers for anybody who hasn't watched the Walking Dead TV show, season 2 or 3, I can't remember which one.
Mm-hmm.
But there's, like, a black dude called, like, T-Bone or something,
Mm-hmm.
and he doesn't say a fucking word. Like, he says, like, 5 things maybe, and he's from the very first season.
Uh-huh.
There's one episode where he starts talking a lot more, and that's when you know he's gonna bite it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, they're giving him lines because they want us to attach to him so they can do something. Yeah, there it is.
I've seen that work in comic books. There's like a character that hasn't been around a lot for a while, and then they like write an issue about them, and they're making them all interesting, and then they kill them at the end.
Yeah.
And it works okay. I've just seen it too many times. Like, they've gone to that well.
Yeah.
Just fictions too many times, so it stops being compelling. And it's like you're just wasting resources. Like, characters are interesting because of the ways they play off on each other, and if you're just throwing them away all the time, I just think you're being wasteful. And
I
it makes
agree.
me not want to follow your stories because your stories are boring and predictable.
Also, with Game of Thrones, there's too many cooks.
Game of Thrones, there's just too many characters. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Like, there's not enough characters who actually are who are, like, actually worthwhile.
Okay, let's talk about how far are you in the actual, like, TV show or books or whatever for Game of Thrones?
I just watch occasional episodes and then have no problems about being spoiled about shit, pretty much.
Okay, the reason why I'm asking is because you know that YouTube video, Too Many Cooks?
Yeah.
And all the people that they're, like, introducing?
Mm-hmm.
I think Game of Thrones has double the amount of people that are considered quote-unquote main characters than that fucking YouTube comedy short that's 20 minutes long has.
Yeah.
That's sick.
And, like, I know my parents watch that show, and they don't know who most of those characters are. They're just like, yeah, we know the Dragon Lady, we know Peter Dinklage. Like, I don't know, all these other people, like, whatever. They're, like, in it for mood. And because it's, like, okay. It's just sort of, although I think on this last season, they turned on Dragon Lady Chick, but
Oh no.
they just didn't, I thought she was just being a jerk.
What the fuck's her name now? Da something? D-A...
Yeah, starts with a D.
Yeah.
Because they said it in that she was in that episode 5, so I should remember, but I don't. 'Cause I don't want to.
Daenerys?
Daenerys sounds about right.
Yeah. So, oh my god.
So I will say my big thing with the game is the Telltale game is the characters are much better than the show.
Okay.
Like the characters you're rooting for, I like them all way better. Like,
Is that
most
because
of
there's
them
an
way better.
interactivity with them though? Like, is it because the medium is kind of stepping up the game a little bit, so to speak, where you feel like you're more personally attached to these people because you are interacting in this world than just being an outside viewer?
It's part of it. Part of it, I just think they're not all shitbirds, and
Oh, okay.
they have interests that are singular about saving each other. Like, they care about saving each other. So,
Well, they care about something, which is kind of amazing.
and that every character you're playing as is interested in the same thing. Like, it's focused in that way, where they're all in, like, different parts of the world doing different shit, but they're all working towards the same goal, which is saving each other.
Okay.
So that, like, I think that works
That's
There's like
kind
a
of
structure for a game.
admirable because that show, no character in that show cares about anything.
No.
And it's really hard to care about a character when they literally care about nothing.
Yeah, it makes it not work.
Yeah. And when you have 50 of them, it really doesn't work. I think that's why I got attached to, I can't remember his name now, Sean Bean character
Mm-hmm.
in the first season. Because he seems like the only one who cared about anything.
Yeah. Can't have that. Can't have that.
Yeah. Anyways, so it's more Game of Thrones, and you're enjoying it.
Yeah. This is the weakest episode of this series. The series is okay. It's not my favorite Telltale thing. That's still probably The Wolf Among Us. I was thinking about The Wolf Among Us again the other day. That's just a good story. I like those. I just really like Bigby.
How stoked are you for
folks make
2.5
this really good.
days from now? For Life is Strange?
Oh, dude, that trailer is nuts.
Yeah.
The trailer for it is nuts.
Yeah.
I'm stoked. I'm stoked for that game.
I feel like the trailers for those games have always thrown me off, though. Because it's like... It's one of these things where...
The game is a little slower paced.
They're trying to make it look like, oh my god, action game or something, because there's still an ad firm behind them trying to sell this product.
Uh-huh.
But, like, people who are in the know, it's just like, if you remember, like, the Chaos Theory one, it shows, like, the part where they're about to get caught by the cops, and then, like, was there, like, an explosion or something? Like, there's a shitload of, like...
Yeah, they blow the door open.
Yeah, like, there's a shitload of big stuff happening in that trailer, and there's actually, like, 3 or 4 scenes in that whole game that are, like, big and boombastic, and they are spread out between, like, 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah, I know. Most of that game is just teenagers
Yeah.
talking to each other.
Which is what I like about it.
Yep. And I don't know how they're going to end it. So that, like, I just like that I don't know where it's going.
Yeah.
More than anything.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm really looking forward to it. Honestly, that's probably my game of the year. Like, not, like, top game of the year, like, number 1.
Uh-huh.
It's
but
on
in
that
your top
list.
10.
Oh, easy.
Yeah.
It's easy in that list. It might be top 5. It's the game that actually made me want to play story-based games.
Fair enough.
Like, half of the people that I've...
a bunch of story-based games, so...
Half of the people that I've talked to about it were just like, yeah, I played it because they were saying something like, yeah, I wanted to check it out because you were saying, like, if you liked a story-based thing, it must be doing something. It's just like, yes!
Yep.
Oh, man, it's so good. I can't wait to do, like, a spoiler huge thing about it and just say everything I've been wanting to say to the masses.
You're too bottled up.
Yeah.
Bottled up over it.
Yeah. We should just be spoiling that and then, like, telling people to not listen to that episode or something. Because I just want to talk about shit that I'm excited about. But the problem is like, I try to play the episodes pretty much right away when they come out.
Yeah.
And those are all story-based, so if I ruin something accidentally, it can take some of that impact out. Specifically,
we should think about just doing a specific spoiler cast after we play the latest one.
Yeah, we'll do something for sure.
Yeah. Just
then even people that don't really care necessarily about the game, if they hear about some of the cool shit that's in it, maybe they'll play it for themselves.
That's sometimes I want to listen to spoiler stuff if I'm super on the fence about something, because sometimes knowing the spoilers will be the thing that's like, oh, this is the thing they couldn't talk about that makes this thing cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Like that happens.
Exactly. I got Binding of Isaac on the 3DS, and it's a piece of trash.
It sucks. That's a bummer.
It has some frame rate problems when there's enemies that split into multiple sections. So that's kind of like Flash version problems from the first Binding of Isaac, like revisited, and that's really, really irritating. The game is $5 more, there's no 3DS, like there's no 3D functionality at all.
Well, that would probably hurt the frame rate even more.
Oh no, it totally would. But the fact that it's on a 3DS and like it doesn't even have UI content like popping out is gross to me.
Yeah.
Like even the basic stuff.
I mean, I never use that stuff because it gives me a headache. But yeah,
It's just
it
the
should be in
inferior
there.
version. Like,
Yeah.
because it costs more money and it's on a shittier system. Like even a bad computer is still way better than a 3DS. Like,
Well, like
at this point.
it's handheld, so I would be okay with it being an inferior system. Except I'm not okay with the frame rate dipping. Like they should have figured that out. Whatever they had to do to make the frame rate work. That's not cool.
Especially when it's a game so focused on how you move around the level mechanically.
Yeah.
Like, it's not one of these things where, like, the frame rate dips at, like, a cutscene. If it dips when, like, if you have, like, 100 things on the screen and you can't move around properly, that's an issue. That's a problem.
It makes games like that less fun, even. Like, it's not just it'll fuck you up. It's like, it's less fun when you have to deal with that shit.
Yeah.
Because it completely takes you out of the experience. Like, it's not that, like, bad frame rate or lesser frame rate is always the worst, but shifting frame rate always sucks. It just feels bad because suddenly it's worse. You have something to compare it to.
You know what else is bad? Is that
What?
when you close the 3DS, it stays on. It doesn't go to a suspend mode.
What the fuck?
Yep.
I've never heard about that with any game since the DS, except for like playing GBA shit on and like old Game Boy stuff on the old DS. But like that's been standard for a long ass time. What the hell?
I do kind of want to just confirm that right now, though.
Yeah, sure.
So like I still have the game open. It froze at the title cutscene. Okay, it's back. It's annoying because it feels like a normal, like how Binding of Isaac should when it's not dipping. Like the frame rate normally, but until it gets to the point where it can't handle what it's producing, it's actually really nice. So that's what's even more jarring about it. If it was like low 20s or something the whole time, dipping down to 15 really wouldn't be an issue. It wouldn't be a problem. But the fact that it goes from so smooth to dog shit sometimes is real bad. Okay, so there's 2 poops here.
You there? Did you cut out, Paul? I can't hear you anymore. I don't know what's going on.
Now can you?
Yes, now I can hear you.
That's weird. It cut me out for a second. So yeah.
Weird.
Now it's been about 30 seconds. Let's open this up. A bomb got set beside me somehow. I don't know what the hell happened there. I'm sure I must have hit a button accidentally. Okay, it doesn't go into suspend mode, but what it does do is that it blacks out the screen. So when I opened it, it was a black screen for about 3 seconds, and then it put me back to where I was. So there is a sort of suspend functionality, but it's not instantaneous. So I had full 3 red hearts as Isaac. I closed it, and when I opened it back up, I have 2 red hearts now. I got hit twice.
That's not. I guess you could pause it always before you close it, but
like,
I
why
wonder if
doesn't
it's.
it just
I wonder
do
if
it?
it's like. I mean, because they didn't program it correctly, I guess.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, for whatever like problems arose during development that didn't get done, but that's a bummer. That should work.
Yeah, it should.
But I mean that's stupid. But I feel like if you can just pause the game at least before you close it.
I totally understand why it's not on the other DS and only on the new 3DS now, because even on the new 3DS it can't be handled.
Yeah.
I guess that just goes to show how far they've come though for that game.
Yeah.
Where that like they can do giant rooms now in the PC version of Rebirth with like hundreds of flies if they want to. No problem at all.
Yeah.
In the Flash version, if you tried to put like more than 20 things on the screen, it would just crash.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I stopped playing the original Isaac, was just I got annoyed at frame rate stuff.
Yep.
Like, I found it kind of nuts how much people played that game, considering that stuff.
Totally.
I found that crazy. But
just to reiterate, though, $5 more than the actual decent version of the game to have a shitty port in your pocket. Like, just get a Vita if you want this game on the go, because that's the better way to do it.
I mean, that would be a lot more money. But
yeah, if you have a Vita and a 3DS though, like you already have this on Vita, and you didn't care about a 3DS release.
Well,
so.
I don't have it on Vita just because that's not kind of game I would want to play on handheld. It's not what I look for in handheld experiences. It's not fast-paced action like that.
And that's kind of the other thing for me is I don't like the controller feeling. So but like I said, that is such a personal preference thing, and if you're okay with controller stuff, then it's not a problem. It feels like the controller version. Yeah. But yeah, super disappointed.
That sucks. That's a lame thing.
Yep. It's really shitty because I love that game. It was like my number 2 favorite game of last year. I'm pretty sure it was my number 2 game, or a 3 or something, but it was way high up there. And the fact that there's a version of it that I was waiting for that I'm actually actively saying, don't buy this, makes me sad. Like, that sucks.
Yeah.
That's like saying don't buy Resident Evil on the DS, which you should. You should buy Resident Evil Deadly Silence, because it's so good. It's just Resident Evil 1 again, but that's perfect, because that game is the perfect game.
Play Resident Evil on the Gamecom.
Oh man, yes. Now we're talking. Now I'm in.
I don't know. As someone who grew up with handheld stuff, like, a shittier version on handheld is sort of what you expect a lot of the time. But at a certain point, you shouldn't. Particularly with the way the Vita has gone in terms of indie stuff. Like, they're good ports on that thing. Like,
you know that Persona dancing game?
Yeah.
Did you see Hatsune Miku's in it?
Yes, they've
so good.
I wonder if we're gonna get her over here.
Absolutely not. Like, maybe 5% of the whole population here know who that is.
She was on David Letterman.
That doesn't make a difference. There's been a bunch of people I don't know who they are on Letterman.
Yeah, fair enough. Also, I feel like that would only be like a weird marketing thing if they couldn't make the deals because of different publishers owning the rights to that stuff over here. I don't know. But I don't know. I'm super excited for that game because I love Persona and because it's like a rhythm game plus a visual novel. So, pretty awesome.
Yeah. We just need Yokai Watch.
Yokai Watch, man. Need that.
It's going to be the most important release.
Probably.
It probably isn't, and it's probably going to sell really bad here, but I'm stoked.
Yeah. I feel like they should be pushing it harder.
I agree.
Because that was the thing with Pokemon when it first came over. They pushed that shit so hard. Oh my god. The marketing for that thing.
Yeah, it hurt.
It was great. They sent me Toys R Us sent me like a VHS tape that had like a preview of the show before it came out. Just because they were sending that shit out to everyone.
Were you part of the chat we were having sometime when like I was streaming how like John Lovitz is actually the first LPer ever?
Yeah, I remember that.
That was so good. Like just like doing this ad spot for Banjo-Kazooie talking over the gameplay.
Yeah.
It was so good.
It's really funny.
Every single LPer owes everything they've ever made to John Lovitz.
Just true facts right here.
Yeah. That's all we spew. Unfortunately, I think that's it for our facts. We have nothing else to talk about.
Oh no!
Oh no. There's always next week.
There's always next week. Some point I need to play the frickin' prologue chapters for StarCraft 2, Legacy of the Void, that I can play at some point. I just haven't had time.
Nice.
So that will probably get talked about next week, because I'll probably make time for that this week at some point.
And obviously, Life is Strange.
Yes, that will get played.
Yes.
That will be played.
All right. Thanks for hanging out, guys. It was fun.
Yep, fun times.
Yeah.
Thanks for helping me out pre-stream, chat. Or I helped me keep it going while Paul was eating.
Hey, I ate those 2 subs as fast as I could.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I actually kind of felt like shit after. I'm only now starting to digest them.
Well, you
It could-
suffer for your art.
It could be worse. It could be human meat.
I mean, that it could be tastier and you could feel better, but then that would probably be a worse problem to have.
That's what we call a callback.
Call back.
Yep. What subs were they? They were a meatball marinara as my plain basic bitch one, and chicken bacon ranch thing as the other one. Good times.
Nice.
All right, chat. Thanks for hanging out. We'll talk to you later.
See ya, chat. See ya, peoples listening. Bye.
Bye.